Derek and Steve present You Heard It Here Second.
Welcome to You Heard It Here Second. I am Derek.
And I am Steve.
And we are back for episode 189 with our intro intact. Steve, how's it going?
We couldn't let it go. We wanted to, and we couldn't. We're both paying to keep the song alive, purely just to keep the song alive.
Because we need to. It's too good of a song.
The money's coming out of our own pockets. Nobody sponsored. We had a few people say it needed to stay, but no one offered to pay for it to stay. So we bit the bullet.
Just did it.
We just did it. So the intro song stays, people.
It stays.
Intro song stays. So it's a good day there.
I'll use that as a quick shout out. I didn't have one written down in the agenda, but a quick shout out to. I feel like since this was so beloved that we decided to keep it, I feel like it's worthy of a very quick shout out of the artist. I mean, like
okay.
that song
I don't even know who it is.
The song, and so this is on like a royalty-free music website, like I mentioned last episode, right? It's called Soundstripe is the website, and the name of that song is Cheeseburger, and the artist's name is Nitro.
Okay, good.
So there you go. And it's like that, that we went through a bunch of songs. Like we looked at a lot of songs, like when we were trying to pick the new intro. I believe for like the relaunch, like when we came back from a long hiatus, we needed a new intro. That's where that one came from. And we went through a lot of songs, and like that one just like had checked every box for like the vibe, you know. And so, hey, credit to Nitro.
Credit to Nitro Cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And if any of the AI songs that we tried were even close,
yeah, it's true.
I probably would have said I don't want to pay. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just the intro song. But we weren't even close with those other songs.
No. Yeah. And we want to support independent artists, right?
True.
And support the people that make the music. So,
true. Shop small.
So there you go. Yeah. So episode 189, we got a good episode for you. First, I believe we have a shout out. Steve, you want to kick it off?
Yes, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Parkview. Derek,
all right.
This won't mean anything to you because you're in Boston, but
right.
A good friend of mine has started a company called Parkview. It's joinparkview.com. And it's a really simple idea. It is cameras facing, pickleball courts or volleyball courts. So you can just go on and see, and if it's packed, if it's empty, if it's wet, and that matters a lot, especially in Florida because, rolling thunderstorms will hit, 10% of a community and you can't play, but 10 minutes down the road, people are playing pickleball. So really cool idea. They just got off the ground. Things are moving really fast. So I just want to give them a quick shout out. Joinparkview.com.
There you go. Joinparkview.com.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great.
Can we make sure that's the website? Yes, joinparkview.com. Yep. I knew it.
Sweet. So yeah, there you go. Florida residents, give it a check. So there's the shout out. We got two quick ones in the beginning. Anything else before we get started with sports?
Let's do sports, Derek.
The Monster Jam.
All right, so we got a pretty quick sports section today.
Yeah.
We were just talking before we started recording. Beginning of March has got to be one of the dullest periods in sports, I believe. Like, baseball hasn't started yet. The Super Bowl just ended. Hockey and basketball are on their way towards the stretch run, but they're not quite there yet. There's no golf. Like, March Madness hasn't started yet. So
tennis,
we have
tennis either.
No tennis, yeah, nothing. So it's a slow period, but we got a couple things here. The first one is just an overdue reaction since we haven't podcasted since it. The Super Bowl, I'll speak for you here, I think, as well, was great.
Awesome.
In the outcome that we were hoping for, that we thought wouldn't actually happen.
Not expected. Not what we predicted.
Not expected at all. An absolute blowout. The score will tell you otherwise with some garbage time, but like a dominating blowout by the Eagles in that Super Bowl. What was your reaction watching that game?
It was one of those things where I was like, it was so entertaining and I was so happy that it was happening. But then like the back of your mind, you're like, did I want it to be close? Like, even if the Chiefs win, like I don't really like either of these teams. Did I just want a better game?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is no. I think I liked the Chiefs getting blown out. That was very fun. Taylor Swift didn't get proposed to. All those like BS storylines.
Yeah.
Kendrick was good.
Yep.
I didn't think he was great, but I think it was really, really good. You know, he did the thing that everyone wanted him to do, which is call Drake a pedophile on national television, and the whole stadium sang along. Like and now that is a meme basically.
Right.
They said at the Oscars, you know. Did you hear that? Right. Conan O'Brien was like, the Oscars are halfway done, so now Kendrick's going to come on and call Drake a pedophile. I'm like, this is weird. It's funny, but it's weird that we're, as a society, latching on to a pedophilia joke. Yeah, it's a little too weird, but, I mean, Drake sucks, so whatever.
Yeah, right. I agree. I thought it was a good, not great show. It was obviously extremely culturally relevant. Like, it got people talking. Like, if nothing else, like, everyone was. It was a polarizing halftime show, I guess, for a lot of audiences. But yeah, going back to the game, I think I agree. Somewhere in the back of your mind, as it's happening, it's sort of like you question yourself. You're like, is this a be careful what I wished for? Like, did I really want this to happen? Like, because now this isn't even like, it's not a game. It's not entertaining. Like, I have no drama. Like, whereas like some of the, best, most intense, dramatic moments in sports can come from a really good Super Bowl, right? But in the end, I agree. I think that I 10 times out of 10 take the outcome of that game. Yeah. Even if they had just been 2-time defending champs, it might have been different. Or sorry, if they were going for 2 in a row or like 3 out of 4. But just like for them to get the three-peat at stake, I was happy to see them get blown out. Just like with everything that happened with the Chiefs, like the year prior, it would have been like, all right, I still want a close game. I think everybody had graduated from that with that team. And I think people were glad to see. And again, the funny thing is that we don't even like the Eagles. Like, no, most people don't like the Eagles. Like, the Eagles are probably a top 5 disliked team as well. But in this context, they were just who everyone wanted to win. So
it was and it was also nice that I got some side swipe props. The announcers and was like, the last time this happened was I think it was when the Bucs were in the Super Bowl. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the same thing against the Chiefs. Really good rush attack, or really good pass rush. Mahomes couldn't get a pass off. Domination. I was like, yes, you're right. Yeah. The Bucs did win the Super Bowl. Say it again. It's true. But otherwise, actually a boring Super Bowl. Stupid, but good outcome.
But it once again reinforced maybe the most forgotten thing in NFL football, I feel like, is that this is tried and true. If you have 4 studs on your defensive line, you win Super Bowls.
Totally.
It's really that simple. The Eagles blitzed 0 times in that game.
Yeah.
That's
0.
crazy. Mm-hmm. That's nuts. And you just mentioned the Bucs doing it against Mahomes. The 2 times that the Patriots lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl, the Giants front 4 got to Tom Brady in those Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. It's a tried and true way to beat a stud quarterback in the Super Bowl, is to have 4 defensive linemen who can get after the quarterback. And so I feel 100%. Like the Eagles probably just set the upcoming 5-year plan for several teams around the league with how they're going to draft and acquire players in free agency, because that is the remaining way that you stop a great quarterback, is to get to him with 4 guys, right? Doesn't matter how good your defensive backs are, right? I mean, you can't ask any defensive back on the planet to guard Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce and all these guys for 10 seconds while Patrick Mahomes runs around, right? You can't do it. You get 4 guys to get after him and bring him down. Now it's a completely different game, and the Eagles showed it. So, I think we were skeptical we could get the outcome we wanted, but in the end, I think the Chiefs haters, us included, were all pretty happy. So,
all right, and congrats to Chris McLaughlin. Eagles fans.
Yeah, true.
I don't like the Eagles, but I like Eagles fans. So, congrats to you all.
I think the Eagles fans probably get a little bit of a bad rep from the ones that are hooligans. I think there's a lot of them in social media that get they're being ridiculous in videos and stuff. But I think there's also a lot of
Philly fan apologist over here. Not me.
No, I'm just saying. Hey, I'm just saying. So, but yeah, there you go. Eagles dominate the Super Bowl. Anything else on Super Bowl football? Any closing thoughts on closing the book on the season?
It's sad to say it like that, closing the book on the season, but it's been closed for over a month. So
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
It's
I think
actually
we can
starting
do
back
it.
up soon with the draft and everything. Like football ends up dominating headlines most of the year, but
Close it up.
So there you go. The only other sports topic we have is that March Madness is coming up pretty soon.
Never
But
heard of it.
not super soon. We got still a couple weeks until that'll really get started, I think. But we might not podcast before it starts, so figured we'd mention it.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. I think Steve, you've never had a take on March Madness. I don't.
Not
believe,
once.
right?
Never had a take. That is clearly a reference to last year when I had a hot take, and we were also attempting to do video alongside the podcast. And my hot take made the video, made our Instagram or our
was
TikTok
TikTok,
or whatever
I
it was. I just don't love March Madness. I came out and said it, and I got heat for it. It was a hot take
from randoms.
From randoms, yeah,
it caught
from-
the wrong audience.
It did, yeah. it caught the right audience, depending on who you
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
But it was out in the algorithm world. It was like popping up on other people's feeds,
Right,
and
right.
and I was getting hate for it.
Yeah.
And I don't like hate. I don't like being
Yeah.
hated. That's for sure. But
I'm pretty sure we did a reset since then. Like we I think we have a different TikTok account now because like it'd been several months. And then when we had worked with our consultant there for a little while, we had reset our accounts and kind of refreshed a little bit. So I think that's actually not even there anymore.
good.
But
Scrub it from the internet.
But I will say when it was on Instagram, you did get a vote of confidence. I remember specifically that it was Brendan, who was one of my groomsmen that you know.
Yes.
He commented, I agree with Steve. So I think the people that
Brendan.
listen to this podcast
knew I liked you,
weren't
Brendan.
unanimously against you, but the random TikTok audience was. So.
Yes. The loyalists, the listeners,
right.
the fans are with me.
Right.
And if you ain't with me, you're against me.
Exactly.
Us versus everyone. Pod versus everyone.
So anyway, March Madness coming up. I haven't watched a lick of college basketball. Boston College basketball is missing the ACC tournament, which used to be impossible until there were more teams. So
Yeah.
this is the first year since they left the Big East that they won't be playing in the ACC tournament because now teams can get left out, and so we got left out.
If there's a tournament, you bet your ass we're going to miss it. No matter the size.
So there you go. I expect probably a coaching change coming soon for BC basketball.
Did you know, Derek, that Boston College has not made the NCAA tournament, the March Madness tournament, since I applied to Boston College?
That's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, you too, probably.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
too long
Yeah.
for a major
Yeah.
D1 basketball. And we shouldn't say this out loud because I don't think people know that.
Yeah.
Like Boston
right.
College
it's sad
kind
when
of
you know that.
it
Making it making
Making
like
it.
like
18 seed. I mean, I guess we're only allowed
Yeah.
to be like an 8 seed or 12 seed, whatever
Yeah.
the rules say. But
right. Yeah.
you
Like a 12
should
probably.
have one season where you're like, oh, they're not ass. They're
Right.
not terrible. They could
12
make
seed.
it.
That puts you at like top 48 team. Like the top 48. Like
Yeah.
you're in the best basketball conference. Like full stop. You are. So like I don't know. Or at least, arguably the best for a while, and I would say definitely the best for a stretch of those last 15 years, right? So that's tough. When you say maybe it's better we don't say that fact because that's a staggering that's like to say you haven't won a tournament game in that long would be tough. Like that would be like, oh dang. Like,
Yeah.
That's quite a slump. You haven't won a tournament game in that long. But at least you make it. You get to participate. Not making it in that long for a tournament that notoriously includes so many teams.
That's my biggest gripe with the tournament is that it includes too many people. And I'm like, maybe it should be infinity. Maybe everyone should get invited so that Boston College can participate one time.
Just do 256 teams.
Yes, just double it.
Double, yeah, exactly. Double it, quadruple it. Have more
I
games.
guess you're right.
Why not?
Quadruple it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but yeah, so there's 68 teams now make it, I believe, because they do the first 4 play-in, right?
Yeah.
So like 68 teams in the field. Yeah, one of these years. But we'll start by trying to make the ACC tournament, which
let's make the
requires
little
you
tournament.
to be like the top 14 out of 18 or something.
Oh, God.
So there you go. March Madness coming up soon.
Yeah, can't wait.
Anything else?
No.
Anything else in sports?
No.
All right, let's go right to the DMs.
So why don't you slide in my DMs? What? My DMs. Slide in my DMs. What? My DMs. What?
All right. So we've got 3 questions. I'm going to shift the order that we have them in. We'll just do the sports ones first, and then the non-sports one will lead us right into our pop culture stuff.
Right.
So the first question comes from Frederick, and the question is, could you win, or where would you place in the Masters if your ball started every hole on the green in the farthest spot from the pin? I also have no context if either of you are good at golf. So every hole, your ball starts on the green at whatever the farthest point from the hole is.
Yes.
And all you do is putt. Everybody else in the field is playing normal, and you're just putting from the farthest spot on the green. Could you win, / if not, could you place it, or what place would you finish in? And I don't remember like how many people there are in the Masters typically, and like where the cut line is, but
so just for context, an average round, Scotty Scheffler won last year, and his 4th round, his final round of the Masters was a -4.
Right. So his tournament score was -11.
Tournament score is -11, but just boil it down to could you get -4? How about that?
Yeah, in a
could
round,
you,
right?
In a round, you'd have to birdie at least 4. So it looks like just for reference, it looks like about the top 60 made the cut last time. 60 people, and Tiger Woods was number 60. He ended up with a +16 score. So only putting.
Could you beat Tiger?
Could you beat Tiger Woods in the Masters
at
in last year's Masters?
No. Let me not jump the gun here. The question is, could you win?
Could you win? Yes, could you win? So the funny thing is, the real answer should be yes, obviously. Like you should be able to say yes, of course. All I'm doing is putting. I don't have to pitch. I don't have to drive. But if you assume that they never 3-putt, assume they never 3-putt, and you are 3-putting from the farthest part on a big, hard, difficult green, I would probably say I 3-putt on a Masters green on 18 holes. 13 of them.
Yeah.
From the farthest point from the pin. So.
Yeah. I mean, but like 13 3-putts would put you at 39, right? Like as a score with 5 holes left. And so.
And then plus 20 for 2 putts.
Plus 20 more. That would shoot 59. You'd be in the record books, right? Yeah. So But here's my thought process was actually not 3 putts. My thought process was on total putts and thinking about the different holes, right? The farthest spot from the green, I don't expect I'm 2-putting almost anything.
Correct.
Like the farthest spot on a Masters green, like I will be shocked if I'm 2-putting a single hole, honestly. Like,
that's probably
because
true.
I think there's
a
lot of contours on those greens. And, like, I don't remember offhand how big those greens are, like if they're notoriously hard or just – I can't remember, like, the layout at Augusta. I probably should know that better. But, like, I'm imagining some holes you're going to actually have a bunker that's interfering with your direct line.
Just so you know, the greens at Augusta National Golf Club average 6,435 square feet, which is slightly larger than the average green in the United States. So they're not massive.
A little bigger, but not, like, huge.
Bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think – so the size is a big part because, like, if they were massive, that's like really long putts you're talking about too. I think that even if they're just a little bit longer than average for a green, I think they're harder. Like I think I think it's they're difficult.
Super
greens.
Difficult.
So I'm imagining that I'm pretty much not going to 2-putt. So like the same thing you said about 3-putting, take those, but then the rest of them I feel like are higher than that. And so I'm imagining
I guess you're right. So
you need to clean up on par 5s. Like you absolutely have to. Like you need to eagle at least like a pair of par 5s, I feel like. Like you need to 3-putt some of those, right?
Yeah.
And if you do that, you have a chance because like if you can let's say you have a couple eagles in there. Now 2 eagles puts you at Scotty's -4, right? Now you just need to par the rest of everything else. That's 4 putts. Like a 4 putt will get you a par on most holes, right? So I think that my short answer is, could you win? I think yes, you could win. I wouldn't
but it would
bet
be,
on myself.
you'd have to
win.
you'd have to play well. You'd weirdly have to play really well.
Yeah. And you need to not miss your putt. Like we've all had a round where it's like, hey, I'm sinking every one of these like 10-footers that like I know I can make, but usually you don't. Or you have a round where you miss all the 4-footers, right? And like you'd need to really hit it perfect. But so I think you could win. I would confidently say that I would bet on myself to make the cut. Like so what we just said with the cut, like Tiger shot a plus 16 in the last Masters. He made the cut. Like there's
I could
no
plus
way
16
you'd
the
shoot
Masters
16
just
over par.
putting.
Like,
But that's not the question.
Exactly.
It's would you win?
No, right. Well, but the alternate was where would you place if you couldn't win? And so like I'm going to say I can confidently say you'd make the cut. I think you could confidently. That's probably as far as I'm willing to go. I'm not even going to sit here and say like I would bet on myself to finish like top 20. Like I would say making the cut is the most I'd promise when it comes to this question.
I'm going to say win.
All right, there you go.
I'm going to say win.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So that's a good question. So thanks, Frederick, for that one. All right, you want to do the next one from Anonymous?
Yes, this one's from Anonymous. It requires a bit of thought process.
Yeah.
Who is more impressive as a two-way athlete, Shohei Otani or Travis Hunter? Follow up. If Otani, what level of two-way success in football, if any, would make Hunter the answer? So, for context, Shohei Otani pitches in the MLB, one of the best pitchers, and also is an incredible batter. It is unheard of to go both ways and also be that good. Travis Hunter also plays both ways in football and won the Heisman this year, college only, but also an incredible two-way player. I have a thought on this. Derek, I feel like you've thought through this more. You watch more college football than I do, but I have a take.
Yeah, so this I actually had a conversation about this question with some people because it was also on Instagram. It was posted because Travis Hunter made a comment because somebody asked him about this, and Travis Hunter mentioned he's like, Shohei's an amazing player, but you got a lot on your plate in football, and so that was sort of sparked the debate about which one's harder, which one's more impressive to do, right? So on one hand of this, you have being out there every down as a receiver and a defensive back is crazy. There's a lot, knowing football scheme and playbook and executing it, and it's a full-time job to know the scheme and be dependable as a 3-down player. So to do it on both sides of the ball is extremely impressive. I think that's for sure. So for me, starting with the direct question, it's obviously Otani.
It's Otani.
The direct answer to this is clearly Shohei Otani. Because he's a 2-time MVP, a World Series champion. He's finished top 5 in Cy Young voting, and he's hit 46 homers and stolen 59 bases. It's not close currently.
Wow, correct.
That's my answer is that it's not currently close. However, I think then that's where the follow up comes in of so it sounds like you agree that Otani is clearly the answer here.
Otani's the answer, but I did not know, you told me this before, that Travis Hunter won the Heisman, but also won best wide receiver in the country and best defensive back in the country.
Yeah.
Didn't just play both ways, was the best at both ways. Was the best at both positions.
Yeah. At least by the awards
in college football, which the field is much, much larger. And the competition is different, obviously, because Shohei's playing against only the best, but that's and I don't know if does he get some do you get a little edge because you play both ways and people think it's cool, so they give you the extra vote, or I don't know. But the stats say that he was the best wide receiver and the best defensive back.
And so that's where I want to get out of the way, the part of whose accomplishments are more impressive. It's obviously Otani at this stage, right? I think that's not debatable. And most people, I think, agree with that. But I think that a legitimate question, let's play out Travis Hunter on a Shohei Otani trajectory. If Travis Hunter becomes an all-pro on both sides of the ball, or an all-pro cornerback and a Pro Bowl wide receiver, like a top 10 wide receiver and a top 5 cornerback, right?
Yeah.
Now, how does this, and they win and wins a Super Bowl and an MVP, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the heart of this question, right? Like, what's more impressive? Because neither of these has had anyone do them successfully, right? And that's why clearly the answer right now is Shohei, because no baseball player has even come close to what he's doing. Like, not even close.
And I think the biggest thing you can say, too, is Travis Hunter will get drafted and probably won't play both ways.
Right,
like,
right.
He will get drafted in the NFL, which is the equivalent of the MLB. It's just the major leagues.
Yeah, right.
And won't do what Otani's doing. Right. They just won't let him. It's too physically demanding. He'll get injured. He's not good enough at both. I don't think he will do both. But if he did and was super successful, then maybe you have a conversation.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll even. I don't think someone will play him both ways.
I think what you just said is part of the ammunition for someone's, like, kind of what I mentioned, the Instagram post that I saw said was like, which is the more difficult, like, two-way grind? And like the answer you just gave would be something that someone would say it's football, like it's what Hunter does, like, because he'll get to the NFL and they won't even let him do it because it's so hard. I would say, and like I would suggest that that's actually part of the reason. Like, this is a really, like, the more you dig into this question, I feel like it puts your brain in a pretzel a little bit, because it's like, I think part of the reason there's never been one in football is because of what you just said. Like, I think that football coaching staffs don't let players try it because it's like there's a preconceived notion that that's not going to work, right? Baseball, on the other hand, like, yeah, go ahead.
We're getting into semantics a bit too. Like, we know the answer.
Yeah.
It's Shohei. Do you think there is possible football equivalent to Shohei Otani? Like, realistically,
yes.
Do you think not just like, oh, in a hypothetical world, someone plays quarterback and middle linebacker and they win MVP in both? Like, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Sure, it's
yeah
theoretically possible, but it'll never happen.
Here's the better way to distill the question. If you had to bet on there being another Shohei in baseball or a Shohei equivalent in football, which do you think would happen first?
Baseball.
You think baseball?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not sure, because like where I land on that is that it's always been incentivized in baseball. Like, it would always have been a good thing in baseball. Like, for someone to do what Shohei's doing, like, why is there no prospect that is like Shohei yet? Like, he debuted, like, his breakout season was 2021, right?
Yeah.
Like, the way I look at it is like what Travis Hunter's doing relies on a lot of transferable skills,
He's just
a lot of transferable talent, right?
Yeah.
What Shohei does relies on almost literally zero transferable skills. Like,
the opposite skills.
If you took Juan Soto and he decided that he wanted to try to become a Cy Young candidate, he would be starting from zero. Like, none of his current skill set would help him, right? Yeah. So that's where I'm like, I think that's where I land on it being more impressive what Shohei does than what a football player might do. Now, you take a quarterback and have him play linebacker, like now we're talking about less transferable skills, right?
Yeah.
But I think that it'll be interesting to see what if Travis Hunter does start to do that. I think then you can have the conversation of which one's more impressive. I think at this stage it's not a long enough list of accomplishments to really have that conversation yet. So
I hear what you're saying. I just think it's not. It'll never happen in football. I just don't think it can. If you were to say, could this ever happen in baseball? I was like, maybe. Like, some pitchers hit. Like, every once in a while, a pitcher is a pretty decent hitter. And like, I guess I could see a pitcher being a real. But obviously, that level is insane. But Shohei all day.
Do you think there will ever be someone who replicates Shohei's level on each side? Like, not football versus baseball, just like, will there be someone who is as good as Shohei on both sides of it?
Purely because of the 5-minute mile theory. No one could do it,
right.
and no one could ever do it. And then as soon as it was broken, everyone could do it. It's just like a human nature mentality. Once you break the mold. But to your point, he's been in the league for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. No one's still
$700 million, right? Yeah. Like, there's an incentive, like, it's waiting for someone to do it. But it'll be interesting. I just feel like people literally still are not appreciating what he's done, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Mike Trout
insane.
too.
Like,
Remember we were like, Mike Trout's incredible. How incredible is Mike Trout? And I'm like, who the fuck is Mike Trout?
It's crazy. But yeah, so there you go. There's the question for Anonymous. Brings us to the last question, which is actually going to transition us into our pop culture. So we'll kind of start here and then go right into it. But Rob asks, should I care about the Oscars? So there you go.
I love this question because it's not just like a goofy, like, should I care about the Oscars? It is like a philosophical question.
It is. It is.
Should I care about the Oscars? Is it a thing that I should care about? I don't think so. I go back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. One is like, cool, it's movies. Everyone likes movies. What's the best movie? But it's also pretentious. And then there's like all the stuff. It's the classic arguments you could make. Like, cool, it's a bunch of Hollywood people giving each other awards. Like, congrats. I didn't watch any Best Picture movies this year, except Dune, which should not have been a Best Picture nominee. Dune 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's become too artsy. There's too many awards. The Best Pictures are never, the movies that I want to watch. I can't remember what it was, but I think what's the other one? Not the Oscars, but the Golden Globes. Didn't they introduce?
Yeah.
They introduced like a fan, not a fan category, but like an entertainment category. Like which wasn't the best, but which,
did you like the most?
Exactly. Which was an awesome movie. Was it
right?
Not that Avengers Endgame should ever win an Oscar, but
right. But it gives an opportunity for movies like that.
Yeah, just like a movie that everyone was like, yeah, this movie's sick, and it wasn't an Oscar-worthy movie. Like Battleship.
Yeah, right. I mean, So
I don't know. I say no. I say
no. Yeah,
don't care.
I am with you on like going back and forth on this. Like I kind of like the needle goes each way and switches around. I'm kind of currently leaning on the yes side of it, and like that's not even because I liked and enjoyed watching the Oscars. Like I had it on in the background, kind of, but I think like kind of going more to your like philosophical side of things. I'm sort of like. One of the winners last night, I don't even remember. It was one of the directors that won, and I think it was the Anora director, and he had a speech about how like he got into movies when he was a kid, like when his mom would bring him to the theater, and his whole speech was about like, don't let the movie theater die, like that, like the movie theaters like are dying, and like it's like terrible, like because it's such a fundamental way that film should be experienced, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm not like a freedom fighter for the movie theaters here, but like I kind of agree with the sentiment, right? Like I kind of can see the idea that like if interest just keeps dropping and dropping off and like no one cares about any of this, then it's like it's not just like magic. Like the film and the TV and stuff that we watch and we love, like is not just going to keep getting made if no one's going to like it, if no one's going to like appreciate
Counterpoint.
it. Right?
Counterpoint. The shows that are coming out now on streaming services are so good. I think the death of the theater, I would love theaters to stay around, but like, if there's a demand for it, it'll stay around. But people are enjoying the stuff that's coming out. Like movies are, I don't know. Movies is a harder question because, should some movies be watched on a big screen? Probably, whatever. Yeah. But now we're in a different conversation about.
But I mean, like
movie theaters.
If you had to name your 5 favorite movies, how many of them would be from the last 5 to 10 years?
That's a great question.
And I'm not.
It's a great question. Maybe one or two, but I don't know.
I feel like movies have gotten worse, and like
totally.
I think that, like, but I agree with you that TV shows have gotten, I think, better, but I think that's partly because of volume. But
that still means better.
It does mean better, right?
Yeah.
Right. It does. Certainly streaming has opened up a lot of avenues for shows to get discovered and picked up. Like we're going to talk about Severance later in this episode, and Severance is awesome, and like it's on Apple TV, and people like that could have easily just not happened ever if that had to have been passed up through a barrier to get onto a network like back in the old days, like right, so I think streaming has definitely opened up a lot of those doors, and so I think that's like a TV argument, right? And I think I think that movies have actually kind of like suffered a little bit. There's so many bad movies that get released like directly to Netflix or Hulu or something. And I think part of it is just because like, you know, the anticipation and like box office appeal of like movies is sort of gone down, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's good. It's, you know, maybe we don't need them as much, but like I feel like people love them.
I heard
yeah.
It was I think it was Matt Damon. It was an interview with like either Matt Damon or one of the like relatively famous, just like easy kind of like Tom Hanks or Matt Damon, just like every guy kind of actor. And he said the reason movies are getting worse is because there's no DVD sales anymore because there's no physical sale. They used to like make.
I heard him say
they
this,
used to make a ton of money off of like, you know, if a movie was really good, people would actually physically go out and get it.
Yeah, right.
Now, once it's out of theaters, people just like stream it or this or that. Like, so there's not that much incentive to capture the aftermarket. You know, like word of mouth. This movie's really good because like they'll just syndicate it to a Netflix, and that's how they make their money. Like they don't actually have to get people to go out and find it because they've heard it's really good, rent it. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. The whole like way it's done is different, and like, but you know, the counterpoint that you made is valid in like, are we just seeing a lot of that same quality being transferred over to TV, right? Because like, again, we'll use Severance as an example. Like, that's a show with like incredible cinematography and like you know, set design and like all the stuff that you're seeing awards being won at the Oscars for. This is stuff that was not at all a part of television.
Totally.
Like 20 years ago. The like there were no, with the exception of maybe HBO, like there were no TV shows that had that level of cinematography and like kind of like movie-esque like appeal and editing and stuff, right? And now you've got shows like this that are doing it for the length of 8 movies throughout a season or 2 seasons, right? Like, and so I do think there's that shift as well. So I don't know. I guess that's a long way to say I don't know if you should care about the Oscars or not. I think I agree with your overall point that it's like ultimately it's like all these like millionaires like patting each other on the back, right? And it's very little of the recognition to like the truly like independent like filmmaker that achieved something great, right? It's like that's a footnote in the Oscars at this point, kind of, you know. So I don't know. I want good film to keep being appreciated, but I also don't think that the current Oscars is like, you know, necessarily the recipe for that. Like I would love to see the evolution of it, like you kind of suggested there with the Golden Globes, like the way that they have a fan vote thing. Like I think we need an evolution of it.
I think the Oscars are like like fireworks. They're cool. People still like it. They're glad they exist, but they haven't changed in 50 years. I still go and I watch them every year. I still hear about them. I still see them on people's stories at 4th of July, but they haven't changed. It's just the same thing.
It might be time.
Might be time to change up fireworks and the Oscars.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good analogy. I like it.
I love that fireworks take. That's one of my like strongest takes. Fireworks need to be better.
Yeah, that was good.
No drones, just change fireworks. Make fireworks better.
Right, exactly. I like it. So there you go. There's Oscars. That kind of covers the Oscars talk as well, I feel like. So speaking of the devil with what we were just talking about, Severance is still underway. We're I think 7 episodes now into season 2.
How many episodes are in season 2?
I don't know how many there's going to be. I haven't seen that yet. I'm guessing it's either like 8 or 10. Hopefully
if it's
not
8,
8, that would mean the finales.
Exactly. I'm like, I got to know that.
It's probably 10, I bet. See if you can find that. But
I will.
So Severance continues to be incredible. It's getting
10.
10. Okay, good. So we got
10.
3 left in this season.
Yes.
So good. We're not like barreling towards a finale that we're not ready for yet. Although there's almost certainly will be a season 3. I don't know if that's confirmed. Like, have they definitely renewed that? Okay, good.
Yes, confirmed season 3 of Severance, which is amazing. Can't wait. Also confirmed season 2 of Shogun, which I highly recommend.
Okay,
if you
I haven't watched
Shogun.
that one yet, but you did recommend that.
Another one of those
right?
like, what?
That's on Hulu, I think, right?
On Hulu, and that's another one of those shows that's like so artistic and so detailed. It's like watching a movie. Every episode is like a movie. Highly recommend Shogun.
Right.
But yeah, back to Severance.
Yeah, but yeah, so Severance. We don't do spoilers, so we're not going to talk too much like specific plot. But just the little intricacies in the show continue to be incredible. I don't know if you've still gone on the social media, seen it all, and it's like
No,
you learn a
I'm
lot.
trying-
Honestly,
I'm trying
I
to
kind of
avoid
recommend
it.
it honestly
because I
Like,
don't want someone to guess. I don't want someone to guess.
That's
right.
true. You don't want the theories. Yeah. You don't
I
want
don't
to hear
want the
like
right.
forward-looking
I don't want to
theories.
accidentally
Yeah.
see the right theory. But I know I'm
Yeah.
missing out on like the Easter eggs because it's a show
Right.
that
There's
hides
tons of
stuff
them.
in
Right.
every
Exactly.
corner.
Yeah.
Send me
And-
the good
and
ones.
so-
You
yeah,
send me
yeah,
the good ones.
Yeah. Like I'll do that. Like because there's definitely a mix of like theories, which like you don't I don't want the theories either because I'm like I don't want to be watching the show looking for things to happen.
Right.
But I also want to see the things I missed. That's like oh shoot like I didn't notice that.
Send
I'm
me
like-
those things.
Like
you
some
do
of
the
yeah,
gatekeeping for
yeah.
me.
Right. And what I actually find funny sometimes is like there's the people that really like literally will watch it and then they'll immediately rewatch it with like slow motion and like pick out everything, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the normal people. And like sometimes on like if you go on a TikTok video where someone's talking about it, the normal people will like leave a comment that's like thinking they noticed something like sneaky like they sleuthed out some detail. And it's like one of the more obvious things that others like have already like it's like an assumption for the people that are like deep in it, right? Yeah. And then people just will like just ridicule them in the comments, and they'll be like, "I don't think this is the show for you." like if you're just noticing that, and so it's kind of like hostile. I feel like sometimes, but
I love it.
But anyway, it's getting crazier and crazier. The storyline's kind of crystallizing into a
Did you watch the last episode?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, but
Yeah. Go
basically a whole. This is where I'm a little nervous. Because we talked about it being like Lost, where they keep adding layers and questions. I'm like, And this last episode was like, all right, we are now opening a whole new door. Basically, like we can now have a season 3 because of this episode if we wanted.
Yeah.
Right. In a show that's very, very, very cryptic already, they've just basically opened the door to a whole new. Anything. I don't even know what to describe. A whole new chapter. So it's getting to the level where I'm like, do I want it to keep expanding or do I want to just like keep it tight, keep it on this narrow timeline and let me figure it out?
Yeah, you can kind of honestly, if it were studied, I think you could probably call it the Lost effect, right? Because I think like the effect of there's a certain threshold after which I think a lot of viewers after which they don't want more question marks. So they're like, I've got a jar full of question marks. I don't need another question mark. I need to take some of them out with answers first, and then we'll get more question marks, right? And like so, this last episode, like you just alluded to, blew the top off with like more questions.
Yeah, they stuffed the jars overflowing,
and not even always blatant questions, but it'll be the type of editing where it's like. You know that person is there to confuse you, to make you think, like, you know what I mean? It's like there's someone there, and it's just like blatant that's a mystery, right?
Yes.
And so there's only a certain. I'm not saying those are bad. That's part of the brilliance of Severance, but there's only a certain threshold of it. I hope we don't go over that threshold in that show.
You can only dangle the carrot so much. You know, eventually you're like,
and so many carrots.
Right. It's like I don't even know which carrot I want.
Right.
Or do I just want to watch like mindless TV instead?
Yeah. I will say, despite that, that last episode I thought was again another example of just incredible like movie-esque like film making. Like I don't know if like there were a lot of flashbacks in this episode. We won't like spoil what it's about, but I don't know if you picked up on just like the film style of the flashbacks.
No,
just made you know it was a flashback. Like if you rewatch that episode, like the flashbacks look like they were filmed in like 2006, and it's like it's so subtle how that they make you feel that like it doesn't look like an old vintage film, but it's just like clearly not the same. Like the film looks different, you know, but not like old. It's like mid 2000s old. It's just like the way that they can tell that story. I just think is very impressive, and like Ben Stiller's gotten tons of accolades for the job he's doing with writing and directing and all of it. But
do you know the average cost per episode of this season of Severance?
No,
if you had to guess.
Geez, I don't know, like $2 million. Is that too high?
$18 million.
$18 million per episode.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It was one of the most expensive TV shows ever made.
Wow.
Because they had to go a bunch of rewrites, and there was like issues with there was like infighting and stuff.
Yeah.
Between the writers, and then I think COVID slowed them down. Yeah, 18 million per
Right.
episode.
Wow.
But
I would love to see
most
the
watched TV
details.
show in history, I think.
Right. I would love to see the details on how that money gets made back. Like in this new model, right? Like obviously in the old model, it was like you get huge ratings, you sell commercial slots, right? Like I would love to know like how that translates, because in my head it's just like, all right, like how many Apple TV subscribers are there? That's like how much money Apple
Right.
TV makes, right? But like there's got to be other ways they make revenue when a show like that is costing 18 million an episode, and other shows probably cost like a 20th of that amount, right? Like, so yeah, it's pretty crazy. But and to think that the best picture winner, we were just talking about, Anora, $6 million budget. So 20 minutes of Severance gets you
gets you Anora,
a best picture winner. Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy, but. I mean, they are like almost they're not that much shorter than movies too, right? So it's not like crazy to think of the budget, but
I agree.
You just think of it when they do it over seasons worth of 10 episodes each, like it gets to be a lot. But
yeah.
So there you go. Anything else on Severance?
No, go watch it. It's a great show.
Agreed.
Great show.
Next one I'll plug here. Have you watched Night Agent? Either of the two seasons?
No. If I get told one more time to watch Night Agent,
Really?
I'm gonna.
I wasn't gonna say it's like a must watch. So you've had other people tell you to
I've
watch
had
it?
other people say, "Oh, we just watched
Okay.
it. It's pretty good. You should watch it." I'm like, I don't want to watch a show that's just like, it's pretty good.
So it's what I think this show is this is a throwback to old school, like just high action, like save the world type show, right? Like that, like it's sort of like 24 in a way. Like did you ever watch 24?
No.
So counterterrorism, like save the world from whatever the bad guys are trying to do. Yeah. Like the premise is that he's like in this secret government like department that like it's called like the night action, and like they just get called for these like intense things. It's not a boring show. It's a bit cheesy. It's a cheesy show.
Random agent of random agency fighting random counter-terrorists doing random act of terror.
But so I think that the appeal of that is that those shows kind of are from 10 years ago. Like so I think that this show just leaned into what it is, which is like we're going to do that again. Like right? And so it's high action, it's entertaining, it's definitely cheesy. There's some like you just got to look past the cheesiness. I think it's entertaining if you like that type of stuff. You can skip it if you don't. You can skip it if you don't.
I like high art. Severance.
This is not high art.
Shogun.
Yeah.
White Lotus.
Yeah. So Night Agent is not that. So if you're out there looking for high art, not your show. But this is the action. It's there in this show. So there you go.
I'm going to quickly review. Did I do this last episode? Gladiator 2?
I don't remember, honestly.
I'm going to say it again because it needs to be said. Gladiator 2 should be so much better. It unfortunately, now that I've watched it about a month ago, it's such a cash grab. It's Pedro Pascal and Paul Mescal, two very like hot right now celebrities, and the storyline is so loosely connected to the past. They had to literally create a scene. They had to shoot a scene as if it was Gladiator 1 with a different child actor.
Oh yeah, you did. So you did say this. I just remember.
I definitely said
you
this.
Said that. Yeah.
So I'll skip the rant, but I was on the plane. We went to Spain, and Gladiator 2. I saw a bunch of people watching it, and I wanted to just say like, it's not that good. It should be better. I didn't hate it, but I wanted to love it, and I loved the first one, and I'm sad they made a crappy second one. So there it is again.
There you go. So don't watch it if you don't want to be disappointed by the iconic nature of the first one. So.
Yeah. But this is very important. This is news. This is very cool. If you're hip, if you're down, if you're with it, this is cool. Stop Making Sense.
Okay.
I did not know what it was. I just saw the it was appearing on my like, if you like this, you should try this. If you like that, you should try this. It's Stop Making Sense. It's about the Talking Heads. Derek, do you know who the Talking Heads are?
A little familiar, but not super well.
I'm going to pause it, and you're going to play a clip of their famous song so people know. Okay?
Let's do it, yeah.
Okay. So that's a taste of the Talking Heads. They're excellent. They were way ahead of their time. They were banned in the 80s and early 80s, maybe 70s, but definitely 80s. And they sound like they could be a like LCD sound system, like early 2000s, mid 2010s kind of band. Very ahead of their time, very cool. And I like them, so I was like, all right, let me watch this. I thought it was a documentary. It's called Stop Making Sense. Let me see what it's on, just to make sure I can give this the credence it deserves.
Right.
Stop Making Sense. It's an A24 movie, so
I don't know. Yeah, okay.
So just find it wherever you can. And I started watching. I was like, wow, this looks old. It looks like it was made to be old. Like it looks like new, but it was made to be like. I was like, oh wait, they all look really young. Like I know they should be older, unless they look great for however old they are now, 60 or whatever. It was shot, and I'm glad I was surprised by this. And this isn't like a spoiler or anything. It was shot in the 80s. It's just a video. It's a very well done, high def recording of one of their concerts from a bunch of different angles that was remastered with really good cameras and really good lighting and whatnot. So it's just a concert. It's just a Talking Heads concert recorded from the 80s. But it's remastered, so it's got that cool old school look, but it still looks new and very vibrant. It is so damn cool. Like after watching that, I was like, I don't know why every band just doesn't do that.
Yeah,
just do that forever. Like every live show should just be that. And they don't do any pyrotechnics. They don't do any crazy lights. They don't do any. They just are all so into the music. They are. I've never watched sounds very pretentious, but like an expression of art like that.
Yeah.
Like just pure passion and excitement for the thing that they're doing in front of a bunch of people. So if you have any sense of, if you're like any kind of like a musical person, you just enjoy music for music, or you like the Talking Heads, or you're just really looking for something unique. I just watched a concert. I watched the Talking Heads concert, Stop Making Sense, and it was incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I highly recommend watching Stop Making Sense.
Nice. That's great. It makes you wonder how many other bands have footage like that was really high quality that could be made into something like that, right? Because they had to have done that with forethought, right? You don't just record that and be like, oh yeah, we'll just put that in the closet with this super high quality cameras for the time, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It takes a bit to build up. It's like a concert. They start with some slow songs. They start building, and then by the end you're like, wow, this is the best. yeah. So
nice. Great. So there you go. Stop Making Sense. I couldn't tell what platform it's on, but search around for it. And worst case,
it's
looks
probably
like
on
you
a bunch
could,
of them.
rent it on Prime or something. But
exactly. It says
so.
You can watch. It's where to watch. You'd have to. It looks like you have to rent it on all the things right now. It's not out. YouTube, Prime, Apple TV, Fandango, but it's worth a watch. Yeah.
There you go. Nice. So Stop Making Sense. Brings us to the last topic, which I think the people like, right? It's I think this is it?
They don't just like it. It's everybody's favorite.
Yeah,
segment,
right. It is.
So today's cozy book corner, Derek, is The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab.
All right.
You and I are both Schwabies.
Yeah, I've read a V.E. Schwab novel.
We're both Schwab heads. We're both. I can get a better. There's something better there. Cotton Schwabs.
There you go. We'll workshop it.
We'll workshop it. But we've both read books by V.E. Schwab. I have read multiple books by her. I like her a lot. I actually have a few signed books by her. Fun fact.
Nice,
I went to her. I saw her at a book signing. So Fragile Threads of Power is her. She had a really, really good trilogy a long time ago, 7 years ago, called the Darker Shades of Magic series. If you haven't read the Darker Shades of Magic series, highly recommend. 3 books, A+ work. Boom, boom, boom. Really good, really easy. Kind of like that like fantasy genre, like fantasy young adult genre. Definitely in the fantasy realm. So if you don't like that, avoid it. But really well done. This is her like 7 years later sequel, and it's not very good. She spends a lot of time. It's like a previously on V.E. Schwab's last book. It was basically like half the book was one of those moments. Previously on this book, and it was just 300 pages of that. I'm like, whoa, I don't even need that. Just start the book.
Yeah.
So I think she puts too much credence in like how much people cared about the past books. I'm just make a good new story. It felt like a filler. It was like the first episode of a new trilogy, and I felt kind of I was like, oh shit, like now that she wants me to read 2 more of I know for a fact she's gonna write 2 more of these books. She's gonna write another. It's just speaking of cash grabs, Gladiator 2, this felt like that, and I didn't like it. I felt kind of scammed. It was just very much you know what? People like this. Let me just do the trilogy again, and the first book is just a reminder that the last books exist. So I didn't love it. Still a really good writer. Still a good fantasy story. I like her writing. I like the world that she created is really, really cool. But the storyline, the plot was meh. It's giving filler episode. So Fragile Threads of Power, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you need a new fantasy trilogy and you like her a lot, maybe give it a try. But I give it 67% Steve Nicholas avocados. Fragile Threads of Power. Yeah,
not terrible.
Yeah.
Do you think that had you not read the previous, it would be less feeling like it was referring back to the previous?
I think if I had not read that's a great question. If I had not read the previous, I think I would like this book less.
Less, okay. Right.
Yes, I think
so the filler even feels like it would be worse if you didn't know what it was filling, basically.
Correct. I think it's, she spends so much time explaining stuff because she needs to, because it's a very complicated world with people and things. But she kind of like half explains it because she already did it in 3 books.
Right.
So if she half explains it, and I'm like, I don't want any of that. You should just start from scratch or avoid it. She does it so that the book is also like 7 years later. So like in those past 7 years, like I've done this and that and this and that. I'm like, okay, well, me too. Like, I don't know, you're a completely different person 7 years, and so are these characters. Like, all right, just start a new book. I don't know.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. 67. Not too bad. But
could be better.
Note the warnings. Could be better. So that does it for the pop culture stuff. Brings us into the final drive. You want to go first or you want to go second, Steve?
I want to go second today, Derek.
Second. All right. I'll go first. Had a couple references to this earlier when we were talking about TV shows, but my final drive today is about Lost because, Steve, way back in the day when I watched Lost, I did say that someday, like well removed from Lost, I will watch Lost again. And the time has come. My wife, Catherine, has never watched Lost. And so we are halfway through season 1 of Lost. Yep. So it's
season
reliving
1's so
Lost.
good.
Season 1, the first I mean, I think we're past the point of spoilers with Lost, but she is in this house, so I'm not going to verbally spoil anything. The first 3 seasons of Lost are phenomenal. Everyone agrees with that. In fact, most people agree the first 5 seasons really are phenomenal, except for maybe season 4 had that writer strike, and so season 4 got like kind of crazy. Really the downfall of Lost was always just like the amount of unresolved issues.
Yeah,
it was never the quality of the show or the character building. I still will maintain to this day is the best of any show I've ever watched. Like the character arcs and like the way that they make you feel connected to the characters across several seasons was elite. Like it's what made that show great, right? So we're halfway through season 1. It's lots of mysteries, lots of questions popping up, but
it's one of those things where like I'm so happy for her but I'm also so disappointed for her because I know that you won't get what you want from Lost.
But so yes.
Are you
but,
playing along?
I've been,
are you like?
I've been,
Are you like?
no,
Ooh, I
no,
wonder
no.
what the
Well, some things yes, some things
is. And
some things yes, some things no. But the way that I described it, and I gave this full debrief before we started watching, as like you need to know what you're signing up for, like, because you're gonna want to keep watching this show. Like I almost can promise you that you're going to become like addicted to it, kind of like. But so what the way I described it, because you go into a show and you hear that you don't get answers, right?
Yeah.
And so then the show immediately starts and they start doing flashbacks about the characters, right? And she would ask, like, am I going to know this? Am I going to know that? I said, you will get every answer you could ever want about a character.
Yes.
Like, you will get every single answer that you can imagine wanting to get about a character.
Yeah.
You will not get the answers you want about things. Like,
about the island.
Things in the show, and just in general, all the way through.
Yeah.
If there's a thing that you're like, what is that? Or why was that there? Or what does that mean? Do not bank on those answers.
Yeah.
But if at anything about a character arc or a character's personality or their past or their future, you will get all of those answers. Right?
Or their second future or their second past. Yeah, right.
Right. So so that's the way I would describe it, because some people are okay with that. Like, some people don't care as much about like the things that you won't get answers to if like everything else is like sort of fulfilling, right? So gave those caveats, and like, the ending is the ending of the series is not like a Sopranos, right? Like the ending was just received differently by different people, right? I think it depended on your expectations, really. It was mostly negative, but I think that a lot of people had adjusted their expectations by the time the finale was happening.
That's some revisionist history, I think.
I mean, I don't know. I can't. You go look on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, all the seasons are extremely high. Like, even season 6 is extremely high, right? So I don't know. I think I didn't want to soil it completely and say like you'll be terribly disappointed, but I wanted to make sure it was clear. Like, you won't get answers to all the things you want answers to. But
the funny thing is, you hear that as a viewer, but you can't. I don't think she knows the extent to which you don't get answers. Like, you truly don't get an answer. Like, you don't.
Well, right.
Get
but
one
big thing, like, yeah. But so
you don't
big
get one.
things, right? Well, you get small answers to things along the way, but you don't get final answers. Like, you don't get the show's going to leave stuff up to interpretation, and I think for some people that's okay, right? Now, like, I almost like, and this is a conversation for another time, probably, because we're in the final draft. But one example is like, what if we never find out what the goats are in Severance? Like, would that ruin Severance for you?
If there was 30 different instances of that thing,
right.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I was talking about before with the threshold, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's all about what your personal threshold is. Like, I don't know, if the goats end up meaning nothing, it's like they threw it in there to confuse you. Like, okay, I can deal with a certain amount of that, right? And so it just depends on if Lost like crosses your threshold for how much of that there was, right? So anyway, season 1, we're not anywhere near all that stuff, and season 1's great.
Yeah, season 1's great.
So,
just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Going through it and
enjoy
then,
Catherine.
See how hooked it gets.
Lost is great. You're gonna love it.
So there you go. There's Lost. But yeah, that's it.
My final drive is Madrid, Spain.
Right.
Just got back from Madrid. I've never been to Spain. I was there for 3 days with Kelsey. She had the flu, so I was kind of doing stuff on my own.
Dang.
She joined as best she could, but it is what it is.
Yep.
I don't want this to sound ungrateful or anything, but I didn't love Madrid as a city. People are wonderful. The food was great. But I had this, my expectations weren't set correctly. I had a picture of Spain, the country, in my head. And it's like bullfighting and siestas and sangria and vibrant like tiles and colors and Madrid's not that. Madrid is the capital. It is beautiful architecture, but like cement on cement with cement next to it. Like, it is. There's a palace here, and then a cathedral next to it, and then a plaza, and then a cathedral, then a palace, then a plaza, and then a plaza, and then a cathedral, and then a plaza. Like, it's very governmental, like Spanish government. It's almost like Washington D.C. It's like you walk and you're like, this is incredible, because it's these giant government buildings with big columns and architecture. But I'm a tourist. I can only see so many plazas before I'm like, okay, whatever. Beautiful culture, like good art. We went to El Prado, which is a beautiful museum. A lot of music around, but I don't know. I had a different vision of Spain in my head, like this kind of party, vibrant, like outdoorsy, reds and yellows and colorful tiles, and it wasn't that. It just wasn't that. And I did all the things that you're supposed to do. We every like top 10 things to do in Spain. In Madrid, we did them, and we did them in a day and a half. Right. It's a small city. The metro is great, really, really easy to get around. And Kelsey said this, and I think it's probably true. She went studied abroad there, and she said it's a great place to live and not a great place to visit. It's a very cool place to like find your local spot and build a little community and like find your things. In visiting, you're just gonna do the main things and So anyway, Madrid was cool. I do want to see like Granada and Barcelona and Sevilla before I make my final determination. But I was just Madrid was different. I did not expect it to be like that.
Yeah, just a mismatch of expectations, but it feels like those other places might be more like what you were. I haven't been to any of them, but it's not. I imagine those might be more along the lines of what you.
Yeah, it's weird to like say that because you just want to be like, no, it was incredible. I traveled internationally. What a gift to be able to do like someone else's culture, incredible. And I want to be able to say that, and it was awesome to be there and experience. But just got to tell it like it is.
Yeah, right. Nice. There you go. So that'll do it for episode 189. Thanks to our question submitters, Frederick, Rob, and Anonymous. So that anything else before we wrap it up?
I don't think so, Derek.
Yeah, let's do
189.
it. 189. Right. So 189 in the books. We'll see you guys next time on episode 190.
Later days.